Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone supporting supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
In Los Angeles, a homeowner fights back to protect his property. In Britain, we have an update on an arrest in a hockey ice skate death we reported on a prior episode, and it's officially the week of Thanksgiving, and we're bringing you an exclusive report on 5 notorious crimes that took place on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
These stories and more are coming at you today, Monday, November 20th on Real Life Real Crime Daily, and I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino. Happy Turkey Week, boys.
Happy Thanksgiving week, right?
Should we tell them this is going to be our last live episode, but we got some really good stuff coming up this week.
So when you're traveling back and forth to Grandma's house, you can still have all your RLRC listening pleasure.
Jim's been in the production studio day and night for weeks, cooking up
the midnight oil,
cooking up this stuff for your turkey day. So
that's right,
good stuff.
Turducken, right. Turkey. What do you do?
All right. So every Wednesday until this year, every Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I always fry turkeys. And in the years back, I'd have all my buddies bring their turkeys over. This was when I did them outside. I have like 4 pots going, and I'd buy all the oil. They bring their turkeys over, and I'd inject them all, and I'd fry them for them, and they'd help me hang my Christmas decorations.
Oh, there you go. That's one way to get it done. Right. Get people over there.
And then last year, by accident, on the Traeger, I had an extra turkey, and I injected it with Louisiana hot sauce instead of the Cajun injector that I normally use. I actually had started doing half Cajun injector and half Louisiana hot sauce. But anyway, so I injected Louisiana hot sauce, and I put it on the smoker and smoked it. Never fried another turkey again.
Come on.
Really?
That effing good.
I mean,
that sounds good.
Yeah.
So and this Thanksgiving, my mom is actually going to my baby sister's house in Dallas, and I'm going to be having Thanksgiving with my father.
There you go.
Right? We're probably going to eat some tomahawk steaks or something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that violates the rule. I mean, you got to do the turkey. You can't do the
we're going to have oysters on Tuesday.
I don't ever do turkeys on holidays almost. Every now and then, but turkey makes me very sleepy.
Yeah. Well, so what I do with the turkeys is, especially like the smoked ones and the fried ones too, when I get done, I'll do an extra one, right? And tear the meat off of it, and then you cook the bones down in the stock and use that for your stock for your gumbo. And then I have fried turkey or smoked turkey, injected turkey, and deer sausage gumbo.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. Louisiana holiday.
Right.
Does the turkey that you hunt and cook, they taste significantly different than what you buy in a store?
Yeah, it's different, and it's way different. Yeah, definitely. But the way you do that is you cut the breasts out and cut them into strips and fry them.
But you prefer it over, because I'm not a big turkey fan. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you know what? I like turkeys this time of year because they're cheap and go on sale, and I can load up the freezers. And I can fry them or smoke them now.
Hams too. I do a ham.
I smoke the shit out of a ham.
I smoke a ham.
Inject them up and smoke them too.
And I'll usually do a Cajun dish like a crawfish cornbread. And
I get cornbread dressing.
Yeah.
You usually?
Oh, yeah. I cook all that.
I don't cook that. My mom cooks that.
I can cook. Let me tell you, if I wouldn't have been, I guess if I wouldn't have been a podcaster,
Right.
I would have been a chef.
Really?
I love to cook.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I do too. I just don't like to do
Not
something.
that my wife can't cook. I just
definitely
cook better.
Definitely. You be in trouble.
I guess that's
She
why
knows I do. She'll be the
she
first to
knows
say
I-
it. Oh, hilarious.
neither of us can cook in my house, so that's why HelloFresh loves us.
Oh,
Yeah.
It just keeps coming.
That's right. All right. Well,
Let's get to some crime time for your Thanksgiving Monday.
and look, we're going to lead it off with some notorious crimes because it's Thanksgiving holidays, right?
Right.
So we're going to lead it off with some notorious crimes committed on Thanksgiving Day. And for those of you that want a little history lesson, in 1789, President George Washington declared November 26th to be officially recognized as the day of public thanksgiving and prayer, to be observed acknowledging with grateful hearts the many and signal favors of Almighty God. So
I didn't know that.
that is how it came into existence. And since then, Americans have celebrated Thanksgiving Day on each fourth Thursday in November, with most citizens typically observing a traditional gathering of family and intimate friends for a peaceful, turkey-centered peace, typically, not in our case. But then there are these people.
All right.
Then there are these people, and I'm going to tell you about the first one here. Omaya Nelson is a model who killed, castrated, and ate her husband for Thanksgiving. Yes, sir.
Did she eat the oysters?
Well, I'm going to tell you about it. On Thanksgiving Day of 1991, Egyptian-born fashion model Omaya Nelson, who was 23, reportedly plunged a pair of scissors into the chest and stomach of Bill Nelson, her 56-year-old pilot husband. Then she reached for a clothing iron. As Bill flailed, Omaya pummeled him to death with the iron until the heavy object actually broke in her hand. Imagine the force that takes. Omaya unleashed her fury, she claimed, over the sexual terror and other abuses to which Bill had subjected her, acts that reportedly included him pimping out his glamorous bride to kinky old creeps in exchange for rent, cash, and in one case, a car. When Bill finally died, Omaya butchered his body on the kitchen floor. She boiled his hands in oil to remove fingerprints and stuck his head in the freezer so she could later break out its teeth. In symbolic revenge, Omaya made a point of castrating her husband as well.
Wow. There you go.
That is one. And then we have Paul Marinage, Thanksgiving Massacre 20 years in the making. On November 26th of 2009, South Florida resident Paul Marinage ate a hearty Thanksgiving meal with 16 family members and friends, conversing and joking, even joining in sing-alongs. After dinner, he managed to whip out a handgun and execute 4 relatives, including his cousin-in-law, his twin sisters, one of whom was pregnant, and his cousin's 6-year-old daughter. Afterwards, he reportedly said, "I've waited 20 years to do this."
Can I say something on that? Real
Yeah.
quick? I've always said that the holidays are the time you leave the ones you love to be with the ones you can barely stand.
Yeah.
How
Sorry, I
many people
shouldn't
that
make
guy
jokes.
killed? What was the tally?
Well, we're still going. It was he executed 4 relatives.
Right.
His son, his twin sisters, his cousin, and his cousin's 6-year-old daughter. Afterwards, he said, "I've waited 20 years to do it." He fled the scene, but was captured and eventually, get this, cut a plea deal for 7 consecutive life sentences to avoid the death penalty. He didn't get the death penalty for it.
I wonder if he's getting turkey in prison.
Good question. Elias Oliver is a Colorado father who killed his son over unfinished Thanksgiving chores. The annoyance that Mr. Oliver, 76, felt towards his son, Keith Oliver, 49, over the younger man's refusal to help out around the house escalated to homicidal rage. On Thanksgiving Day of 2009, the father and son had reportedly argued for hours prior to the elder Oliver, 75, asking and the mother asking the son to leave. He refused. The father goes upstairs, retrieved a .357 caliber revolver, and shot him to death.
There you go.
Thanksgiving Day.
I mean, you leave the ones you love to be with the ones you burn.
Let's hope your turkey day goes a bit better than it did in those households.
That's right. Byron Smith. We got a Byron Smith.
You got another one?
I've got a couple more. Byron Smith was a retired security engineering officer with the State Department. His home had been burglarized several times in as many months. He installed an alarm system complete with video cameras aimed at several areas of the house. Then on Thanksgiving Day, he sat in his basement with a white rifle and waited. The video from that day captures Smith moving his truck from the driveway prior to a break-in to make it appear as if he weren't home. Then an hour later, two teens in hoodies can be seen casing the place before entering the property. Yep, the teens were Haley Kiefer and her cousin, both of whom were unarmed. Smith had suspected Kiefer and Brady of having been responsible for at least some earlier break-ins. And while Smith sat in the basement waiting, he had a tape recorder running. There are hours of audio recordings that document him laying in wait, complete with the sound of breaking glass and a confrontation. The audio captures shots fired, and Smith's statements during and after the killings include, "I refuse to live in fear. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. I felt like I was cleaning up a mess. I'm doing my civic duty. I don't see them as human. I see them as vermin." Incredibly, despite two dead bodies in his house, Smith wouldn't actually call the police until the next day, stating he didn't want to bother him because it was a Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh,
that's considerate.
So nice.
That was very nice of him. And I'm going to give you one more. Shanika Alsop stabbed her half-brother in the neck with a serving fork at Thanksgiving dinner.
There you go.
Thanksgiving 2012 turned gory for celebrants gathered at the home of Shanika Alsop, 27, in the course of a sibling spat about food being served. She stabs her half-brother, Deontay Wallace, 23, in the neck with a serving fork. Wallace survived, and Alsop went to jail for first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and reckless endangerment.
Back to that family get-togethers.
So, if that don't happen at your house, you are fortunate.
That's right. and you wouldn't believe the amount of violence calls that go up on Thanksgiving. It's stupid. People just, family get together. You can't really stand each other anyway. And then
you only start
drinking, and then you're like,
and
Venus,
I never did like
and
you.
Venus is Veritas, right? And why don't you go fuck yourself?
Yeah, you remember when we were 16, you gave me a wet willy?
Yeah, we gave me a wedgie. Real quick, because it just popped in my head. Y'all, what happens on Thanksgiving week is, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Don't let it happen to you. Kids are out of school. The burglaries and shit go through the roof. This is definitely not
lock your doors in your cars,
and don't
take your gun inside. Don't leave in the car.
Right. Because it's just what happens. All right, so I was on a plane one time, and there was this really attractive female, and I said, "Hey, Mama, where are you from?" She said, "I'm from L.A." I said, "Me too." She said, "Really, what part?" I said, "Near Baton Rouge." I knew she meant L.A. Right. She's a fancy L.A. girl. But anyway, let's go to L.A. A mid-city homeowner was returning to his gated Los Angeles home Saturday evening after hitting the gym when two armed men jumped his fence and tried to force their way in his home. Out of nowhere, boom, I had a gun in my back, and there was another guy running up at the same time, and I couldn't really make out what he was saying, the homeowner said. The attempted home invasion unfolded just before 7:30 p.m. when the man's wife and her friend and the family's nanny were inside the home cooking dinner and putting the couple's nearly 5-month-old daughter to bed. Realizing the urgency of the moment, the homeowner calmly turns around and tosses a cup of hot tea at the masked man before pulling out his own handgun. right? The intruders immediately ran away from the man's home while exchanging gunfire with their would-be victim. They took off firing at me, said the homeowner, who wished to stay anonymous. I returned fire, firing at them. They left. The homeowner said he feels unsafe, especially since this is not the first time that he and his family have been a target. In June, burglars broke into his home and have yet to be caught. And we'll post a video of this one, y'all, so you can see it. Video? Write it down. Video?
Post a video of what?
I don't know. It says,
Well, the whole scene is the link is there. The whole scene was caught on his video camera. It's an amazing. I mean, it's a shootout.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay. So you have the link in there.
Yeah, I put it in.
Okay.
There.
all right.
I'll write it down.
Boom, Jim. I have a 5-month-old baby, he said. I feel unsafe. I will take matters into my own hands, and I have, and I will continue to do so. Well, the Los Angeles Police Department responded to the man's 911 call that night, but the homeowner was left unsatisfied with the investigation. He requested a detective to come back to his house to further look into the matter. I had to take matters into my own hands. To make this clear for anybody else out there, there's nothing in my house worth dying over. I'm willing to die for my family, and I'm willing to kill for my family. Now, the man is demanding L.A. leaders to prosecute the criminals terrorizing law-abiding residents. Every single person I know has gotten stuck up. It's not normal. The Los Angeles interpreter said he was leisurely walking to his front door while listening to an audiobook, probably Jesus Help Me by Woody Overton, that I narrated, that had captivated his attention when he noticed the men approaching him. The video shows the homeowner holding a cup of hot tea while digging out his keys from his pocket before a man wearing a hoodie and aiming a gun ran up to him. The man is a concealed carry holder and immediately grabbed his firearms to do the suspect. He credited his quick thinking to years of boxing, explaining he is not John Wick, but I can handle myself decently well. As I went to grab the gun, he turned and he's holding my sleeve. I think so I wouldn't hit him. And when I went to go get the gun, I shook him off. He backed up and went to turn around, and I charged at him to grab him, he said. The other suspect, however, was pulling out his own firearm and squared off for a gunfight. At that point, I knew I was getting shot by the other guy, and I couldn't see who else was coming in. And this kid was also turning back around with a gun pointed back at me, and I just started firing, and they both started firing, he said. He's described the two suspects as males likely in their 20s. And a group of criminals has been targeting homes in his neighborhood, and they drive a Dodge Charger with no license plate and had targeted his neighbor that night prior to the shootout. The homeowner said if it was not for his gun, he and his family could have easily been killed. And he's probably right. He said, it saved their lives. I'm a tough guy, but there's only so much I could do against a gun. They would have pistol whipped me. They would have pistol whipped my wife. They would have come in the house, and there's nothing in my house. Well, you know what? Good for him for standing up for himself.
No, and really quick thinking, because you can tell in the video that he has no awareness that this guy is there. He's literally putting his key in the door, and then he feels the presence of the guy,
right.
And in that moment immediately thinks, throw the tea, pull my gun.
Yeah.
But he has no idea there's another guy.
Right.
So he does that. He's actually got that guy on the run, but then all of a sudden shots are getting fired at him, and it's kind of no one in this three-way gun battle could shoot.
Right.
I mean, it's like me shooting a gun in this thing because nobody hits anything but walls and other shit.
Well,
but he definitely saved his property.
I'm going to give him a piece of advice. Next time, especially with that amount of crime in your neighborhood, have your keys out before you get to the door. Because he said I was fumbling in my pocket for my keys.
Yeah.
And if you have your head on a swivel, not such an easy target.
But the fact that you have to, I mean, it's just,
I get it.
And him saying that everyone in the neighborhood has been hit and they have a vehicle and a description.
I'm pretty sure they won't be going back to his house.
Well, we'll see.
They're not
or they'll be going back with more than two guys.
Oh.
Okay, so we're going to go back to Europe to this story that has taken on a different life involving this former NHL hockey player and what.
Which part of Europe?
In our initial reports, Britain. In
Pinellas County, Europe?
In our Pinellas County.
Give us
in our initial report.
It's British accent.
Hello.
I'll now get back to this very sad story.
Tea.
Spots of tea.
This is a very serious story, guys.
All right, sorry. I was actually telling my buddy about the story, and he freaked out.
Well, so we first brought you the story last week about Minnesota native. His name's Adam Johnson, who played hockey at the University of Minnesota Duluth and then ascended to the NHL, played for the Pittsburgh Penguins for several seasons, but he fell out of the NHL and subsequently played in a number of countries overseas before landing his most recent spot, which is with the British ice hockey club called Nottingham Panthers. Johnson was playing hockey in the UK last week when I initially thought he had been killed in this freak accident because all the early reports were freak accident, and there was no video, there were no pictures of anything at that point. The story caught my eye originally because the British authorities didn't immediately declare it a tragic accident. Instead, they immediately opened an investigation. A day or two later, video came out. And the video that came out was not the professional video from inside of the arena or the telecast of the game. It was cell phone video taken by somebody in the stands. And so it's pretty blurry. But the video appears to show a player thrust his leg and therefore his skate blade at Johnson during a play just inside his opponent's blue line. So he's skating in. This guy comes at him again. It's blurry, but you can see the guy's leg and extended with the skate blade forward. I'm a hockey fan. I watch a decent amount of hockey. I attended a lot of hockey games when I lived in New York, and the move I saw on the blurry video is not a natural hockey move, in my opinion. It's nothing I've ever seen a player do in a game. So there are a lot of ways to check guys in hockey. Most of them, those checks are either upper body with your shoulder or what's known as a hip check, which obviously is kicking out your hip. This was neither of those. Tripping is also a common penalty in hockey where you might use your leg or your hockey stick to trip an opponent. That's also a penalty, but as I said, even when tripping, you're not raising your leg and pointing a skate towards anyone. This was an unnatural move. That's, again, based on blurry cell phone video, this thing looks intentional. British police have not released the actual game footage, which would show us with much greater clarity this same video angle, I would assume. But they've now gone and arrested a man in conjunction with Adam Johnson's death. The Brits don't release suspect names until they have been officially charged. But we know the man in the video appearing to extend the skate toward Johnson's head is a player from the Sheffield Steelers named Matt Petgrave. The South Yorkshire Police Department confirmed to the BBC that a man was arrested Tuesday on suspicion of manslaughter following the 29-year-old athlete's death on October 28th during the game against the Sheffield Steelers. Johnson's team, the British ice hockey club Nottingham Panthers, announced his death in the early hours of the 29th, writing on Twitter that the player died, quote, following a freak accident when opponent Matt Petgrave's skate slashed Johnson's neck. According to the BBC, Johnson's cause of death was confirmed to be the result of a fatal neck injury. Detective Chief Superintendent Bex Horsfall said that the investigation, launched immediately following this tragedy, has been carrying out extensive inquiries ever since to piece together the events, which led to the loss of Adams under unprecedented circumstances. He also said that they've been speaking to specialized experts in the field, which makes sense since this isn't really a British sport. So those experts would tell him what I've said, which is that was not a natural hockey move. This thing is now escalating into a racial thing because apparently the guy that had the skate was black and Johnson is white, and so that's now becoming the headline. Which really this is about two guys on on the ice, getting physical. Fights happen in hockey; it's part of the game. And one guy just appears to have gone over the edge, and I'm sure he wasn't trying to get him in the neck, but he was trying to get him with a skate somewhere on his torso, and probably inadvertently got him high. We have the blurry video, so you can at least see where his leg is and how it's extended toward Johnson. Again, not a natural act. So
That's crazy.
we'll see where it goes from here.
Crazy one. I was telling my buddy about that the other night. I said, dude got his throat slit in ice hockey. He said, what?
Yep.
And then he said, where was that at? I said, I think in Canada or somewhere. I forgot it was in Britain.
It actually,
thing.
this happens, but it happens to goalies.
Yeah, I mean,
when
you
it
said
happens because there are, a lot of times
but they don't
five
get-
guys converging
they
on
don't
the
get their throat slit. Yeah.
It has happened where it's gotten close to that, but no one has died from it
Right.
in the
That's what I'm saying.
in the NHL. This was a freak thing, but not an accidental thing by all
Definitely a
appearances.
freak. Yeah,
Any of y'all like rum?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep. I like all kinds of rum. Ever had rum in your coffee?
No.
What you think I drink in here every morning?
Come on.
Black and rum. I got to get up.
Well, I know that must be you and the guy from what's Johnny Depp's character.
Oh, the
He
pirate.
loves rum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rum.
Barbados rum. I like
Yeah.
the Barbados rum. Mount
Well, there's a Florida woman that likes rum too.
Tell me about it.
And this Florida woman's behind bars after whacking a man in the head during an argument about rum. Yeah. Lori Wilds, that's right, Wilds is her last name. That's perfect for this story, was charged with felony aggravated battery with a deadly weapon after the incident that unfolded Wednesday. The victim said he was in the garage when Wilds came in, arguing about the missing rum in the home. The man said, "I don't drink rum." And that's when Wilds started to knock things over. During the Wilds rampage, she grabbed the man around his neck and started punching him. The man was able to get away, but that's when Wilds came after him with a hammer. At first, the man didn't know what he was hit with, but then he realized it was the blunt side of the hammer. Deputy said there was a small scrape with fresh blood on the man's head. The hammer, a standard one with black and blue handle, was found by deputies. Now, she must not have hit him too hard because he wouldn't have a
Or
small
just
scrape.
Go ahead and some blood. Yeah.
But all of that over rum, and well, the lady looks like a lady.
Don't
I
mess
mean,
with her rum.
yeah, you ain't gonna want to mess with her rum. I can tell you that.
Well, Miami is the
She's
home-
like most soccer moms that look like they've had enough of their kids and they want some wine.
Right. Yeah.
And
Oh, this is Marion County.
know.
This is Ocala. God, we get a lot of crazies. We get a lot of crazies from Ocala.
We did a story yesterday from Ocala.
That Bacardi, Bacardi's just located in Miami.
Yes,
you had a
it
lot
is.
of
I
people
actually
drinking that
met
Bacardi.
the family members of the company many years ago when I was down there doing consulting. So
there you go.
it's all crazy. Don't mess with the rum.
Don't mess with the rum.
I used to drink before I found out it had almost no alcohol in it. Was
Until you find out.
was Malibu rum and pineapple.
Yeah, oh yeah. My wife loves
I could
Malibu
drink a
and
whole fifth of
pineapple.
that stuff. I'm like, why am I not getting hammered? But anyway,
That was her drink
y'all know
back in the day.
I'm a kind of this animal.
Why am I not getting hammered?
Animal,
It's like worth a shit.
right? This animal, whatever, aficionado, reporter, etc. Yesterday, I told you about 24 horses burned alive.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to tell you about another animal story. So the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Association of Zoos and Aquariums today announced the launch of the Wildlife Confiscations Network in Southern California to provide care and welfare for animals confiscated from illegal trade. The network is a pilot program of AZA's Wildlife Tracking Alliance that provides a coordinated response for the care and well-being of wildlife confiscated from illegal trade. Online marketplaces and social media have made it significantly easier for consumers to illegally acquire wild animals. Every year, millions of trafficked animals fuel this global demand. Wildlife trafficking decimates species in the wild, fuels criminal networks, destabilizes governments, That's kind of shocking. Encourages corruption and threatens human and animal health through the transmission diseases. I get that.
Destabilizes God.
I don't know. Yeah,
That might be a little exaggerated.
Yeah, right. Wildlife trafficking is a serious crime that impacts imperiled species throughout the world, said Martha Williams, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Director. When live wild animals and plants are seized at U.S. ports of entry, it is critical to provide the highest standard of care as quickly as possible. It is also essential to grant safe and appropriate housing for species that cannot be returned to their country of origin. That's probably because that country has already been destabilized, the government. So anyway,
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
They're all worried about the well-being and the custody and shit. So this newly established pilot program network will help conserve animals for future generations. In 2022, service special agents and the service law enforcement partners investigated over 10,000 wildlife trafficking cases and collected over $11 million in criminal penalties. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is proud of the work that the AZA has done and established the Wildlife Confiscations Network, said Ed Grace, Assistant Director. Using the network to coordinate the placement and care of seized live animals will enhance wildlife enforcement ability to effectively combat illegal wildlife trafficking. This program exemplifies how working together can help serve the American public. Okay.
Well, maybe they
got $11 million. That's the best part of this story.
Yeah.
Well, if they can keep those 30-foot Burmese pythons out of the Everglades, that
or
would be.
What's the cockatrice, or what was that thing called? So don't be fucking around with wild animals, people.
I saw a story online yesterday about a carpet snake, an Australian carpet snake. Have you ever seen one of those?
I know Australia's got like more deadly species of snakes.
This is in a freaking neighborhood, right? Yeah. This is house to house. I mean, suburban neighborhood. Yeah. This freaking snake is so big that it's on one house's roof. Wow. It goes through this tree that's in between the house and the other house, and its head and a little bit of its body is on the roof of the next house over. I mean, this thing was like the size,
like an invasive species,
the size of the CGI one in Anaconda. I mean, like that big in an effing neighborhood.
New business idea.
A carpet snake.
New business idea. Get a handful of Cajuns and send them over there. And collect them because they'll find a way to cook them and eat them.
That's right.
Right. That's right. For Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Next year, carpet snake instead of turkey?
Possibly. We'll try anything once.
I'm going to find that video. You guys are not going to believe the size of this freaking snake.
Try anything once, maybe twice. I've eaten rattlesnake.
Yeah, but I mean, seeing a snake that big. Oof.
I mean, Jim sees one every day that big.
That's right. Every time I go to the bathroom.
I don't think Jim sees anything quite this big. Okay, so we're going to Georgia.
Georgia?
35 years ago, after a little girl known as Baby Jane Doe was found dead in the Millwood community of Ware County, Georgia, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI, has finally identified the body and arrested 2 suspects in connection with her murder.
Good for them.
The GBI announced on Monday that thanks to a breakthrough in DNA sequencing tech, along with a tip from the public, they were finally able to identify the girl as Kenyatta Kiki Odom. She was 5 and from Albany, Georgia. Once the child was identified, and after further investigation, the GBI charged her mother, Evelyn Odom, also known as Zemeka Luciana, 56 years old now, and her live-in boyfriend during the time of the child's death, Ulister Sanders, who's 61 now, with felony murder, cruelty to children in the first degree, aggravated battery, and conspiracy to conceal the death of another person. GBI Special Agent in Charge, Jason Seacrest, said that Odom's body was found wrapped in a blanket inside a duffel bag and a trunk encased in concrete in an old TV cabinet at an illegal dump site in Millwood on December 21st, 1988. We also knew from the scene that there was a possible Albany connection due to an Albany Herald newspaper that was found nearby. After a GBI medical examiner examined the body, the child's death was ruled a homicide, though her cause of death could not be determined. For years, the GBI attempted to identify the child through forensic testing and by collaborating with local social service agencies, as well as local state and national media coverage to match her with reported missing children. In 2019, they finally got a breakthrough when an agent looked into genome sequencing, and they were able to confirm she had a family connection based in Albany, Georgia. Then in December of 22, they got yet another breakthrough with a tipster who had seen the news released by GBI on the anniversary of her death. She knew that there had been a child that had gone missing and that her mother said that the child had gone to live with her father. This person never really believed that story. Seacrest said that they began to investigate this lead and the specific family tree, which led them to finally be able to identify the child in June of 2023, so a few months ago. He said that the National Center of Missing Children and Exploited Children has also conducted a forensic rendering of what they believe the child would have looked like based upon her remains. The results look similar to a photo they obtained of Kenyatta. Finally, after 35 years, not only were we able to identify the remains of who baby Jane Doe was, but we were also able to make the arrest of the people we believe responsible.
You know why I love solving cold cases? Because those motherfuckers got away with it for so long. And guess what? This year, and I always would say this, and I always use Christmas as an example, but this year, those two assholes won't get to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner.
That's right.
With where they want to be. Good job for them.
No,
and I actually had heard that over the years, and I love seeing a good cold case solved. Never give up, y'all. Keep calling your tips on Miss Barbara Blunt.
That's right. Going back to Marion County, Florida.
Mr. Ocala.
Mr. Ocala. A Marion County woman has found herself behind bars after concocting a scheme to steal $330 worth of groceries from Winn-Dixie.
Oh, my gosh.
Sarah Howe was arrested and charged with misdemeanor retail theft after the incident that unfolded at that Winn-Dixie. Deputies responded to the grocery store on Tuesday in reference to the retail theft that occurred the day before. The manager said a woman, who was later identified as Howe, stole from the store on Monday. She was checking out when she told the cashier she needed to grab an item. She said she needed to take the shopping cart with her so that she could balance while she walked to get the other item. But that's when she walked right out the store, passing all points of sale. Before she left, the cashier said the total was $328.34. The store manager was able to ID Howe based on her Winn-Dixie card, which she wasn't smart enough to get back before she hauled ass out of the store. And it had all her information attached to it. Deputies then paid a visit to Howe's house, of course, based off of the address listed. The people that live in the house told deputies that Howe recently left to go to the store. Howe was found later that day at a Family Dollar, where she was placed under arrest. In post-Miranda interview with deputies, Howe said she went to Winn-Dixie on the day of the theft and did leave the store without paying for the items in the cart. She was transported to the Marion County Jail, and she remains there on a $500 bond. A $500 bond, and she remains in there. That's like $30. Through a bond. Isn't it such a percentage or something?
They might do it. It's 12-13% is what bondsmen usually charge.
Yeah.
But if she posts a $500, Winn-Dixie get their $300 and something back.
That's right. Mm-hmm. But the old "I forgot an item" trick.
Yeah, right. Shout out.
But I need to balance myself trick.
So let me borrow you. How many times? You know what a pet peeve of mine is? Getting a fucking shopping cart that has a wobbly wheel.
Oh, it's nothing worse. It sucks.
Or a loud shopping cart.
Or you get
that's what I can't
get
say.
One of those at the airport because you got a bunch of luggage and it's got a bad wheel.
Yeah. That sucks.
You know what, though? There needs to be some kind of balance between all for enforcing the law. If she had been in any number of states, she would have. No one would have come after her. She would have gotten a slap on the wrist at worst, whatever.
Shout out to those deputies for actually taking the time to follow up on that because they must not have been busy with anything else.
But let's not put her away for years over $330 at the
put her
window.
away for years. She's going to get probation.
$500 bond. She's probably just going to get probation.
Yeah, she'll get
have
probation
to reimburse
and then
the
she'll
store.
go out and do it again.
But you know that all of those thefts and all of that stuff is why
everything's so
why
expensive.
everything gets more and more expensive.
For sure.
I mean, it costs us all.
For sure. And the reason why Target gets robbed all day long every day is because they don't prosecute the people that do this. And so it needs to be done. But
look, back to the cops in the story, right? They did their job and, thankfully so everybody should be arrested for shit like that. And I know they don't enforce it everywhere. But, this is one of the most bizarre stories I think I've heard of. I unfortunately have or had friends in law enforcement who have killed themselves. I've worked, I can't tell you how many suicides I've worked, and we never reported on them. They're all horrible, but 4 current or former employees with Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department are all dead in what appear to be suicides. The 4 apparent suicides occurred in a single 24-hour period between November 6th and 7th. If this seems like an odd coincidence to you, you're not alone. As we sit here on November 20th, investigators are still trying to find a connection, trying to get confirmations on the cause of death for each. The names of the dead have still not been released, or we could at least be looking for simple connections via social media. The first body to be discovered was that of a former employee and retiree, and sheriff's officials said it was reported around 10 a.m. on Monday, November 6th in Valencia. The second, around 12:50 p.m., officers received an additional report of another death in Lancaster. And another death was reported in Stevenson Ranch around 5:40 p.m., and the 4th death occurred in Pomona around 7:30 a.m. the following day. So the Sheriff's Department shared a statement informing the public that they would not be releasing their names at this time as investigators are continuing to examine the circumstances surrounding the deaths. The medical examiner and detectives will look into each instance separately for the time being, and no further details surrounding the deaths were given other than they appeared to be suicide. The sheriff, Robert Luna, said, "We are stunned to hear about the tragic deaths, which sent shockwaves of emotions through the sheriff's department." He said it's important to remember to check on colleagues and friends to make sure they're doing okay, and the sheriff's office was working to find new ways to reduce stress and to support its employees. The sheriff said it was okay to ask for help and encourage folks to seek it if they feel unwell or suicidal. And the recent deaths bring the total current former Sheriff's Department employees, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department employees who died by suicide to 9 in 2023
That
alone.
is a lot.
And many people are shocked to learn that more officers die from suicide than from being killed in the line of duty. And the FBI data from 2022 shows that 118 officers were killed on the job and 161 died by suicide.
Wow.
And, you know, it's just really, and they told us these stats when I was a young cop, that most cops, when you retire, they don't even live like a year. You know, they just, whether it's suicide or drink themselves to death or whatever. Anybody out there, y'all, and I've taken suicide classes and I've dealt with it's just freaking horrible situation. But, you know, look for the signs. Some of the most common ones are when the people reach the point, unless they're intoxicated, when they reach the point where they think they're going to do suicide or they're getting ready to do a suicide, they'll give away the most prized possessions. Like to their friends and loved ones. They'll reach out and contact people that they hadn't talked to in years, friends and loved ones, and but they'll seem to reach a peace before they do it. You know? I hate it, y'all. If you're thinking about doing it, don't do it. I mean, it's just whatever you're going through. It's not that. I'm not making light of your situation, but it's not so bad. Call the suicide prevention hotline. Talk to someone. Hell, you can call me. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say in this particular instance, it's you know, these are police officers and they see so many horrible things, and then on top of that, they, you know, it's policing's not what it used to be. Right. Now you know, people are trying to turn police officers into anything other than the heroes they are. Mm-hmm. That creates stress on the job. That you know, it's sad. It really is. Sad. And thankfully, I think a lot of departments now have addressed this issue and work with these deputies on these things.
Yeah, I don't know, but even if you're not a deputy and you're thinking about it, don't do it.
No doubt. Permanent. solution to a temporary problem.
Right,
Is what that is.
And I don't want to say it's selfish, but it's selfish because you're only hurting the people that you leave behind. Somebody loves you. I love you.
Well, and
don't do it.
4 in a 24-hour period. And I'll tell you one other thing that I think is a little bit strange about this from just a numbers game. 3 of those locations where they're from, and 2 of them especially, are really close to each other. Like you're talking about all of LA County, 4 deputies, but 3 of them probably knew each other if they were in that close of proximity.
Oh, I'm sure they did. But the thing is, I mean, I'm not going to speculate and go on the theories that, maybe they're all tied in. If that ever comes out, certainly it'd be a big national news story. But unfortunately, like I said, and I have had friends who killed themselves that I wish would have called me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's just, really strange that you'd have that number in that period.
It says
of time.
161 last year in the United States killed themselves, cops.
Mm-hmm. Basically every other day.
And then you know what? It gets worse in the holiday. It's always the suicides go through the roof. Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's when you're missing family. If you had someone in your family that passed, you get very depressed. And
sorry to I said I shut up.
Let's go to Texas, and David Negretti, a 19-year-old who is the suspected gunman in a mass shooting at a Texas flea market last Sunday evening, is now in custody, according to the Pearland Police Department. Negretti turned himself into the Brazoria County Jail around 10 a.m. Tuesday morning after being on the run for more than 40 hours. At the time of his arrest, he was listed as one of the Texas Department of Public Safety's top 10 fugitives, and a $15,000 reward was being offered for his capture. Negretti is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but new charges could still be filed as the investigation develops. The Sunday shootout, which unfolded at Kohl's flea market, easy for me to say, shortly after 5:30 in the afternoon, left a 10-year-old boy dead and 4 others injured, according to police, who said all victims were rushed to the hospital following the shooting. Although police have not released the boy's name, he has been identified on a GoFundMe as Francisco Vicente Duarte. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, according to police. Known to vendors at the flea market where his mother had worked for years, Chente, as he was called, was hit in the crossfire, according to Liliana James, who started the fundraising campaign to offset the mother's funeral costs. One day into the campaign, they've raised $9,000. 3 teenagers, a 14-year-old girl, a 16 and 18-year-old boys were hospitalized for their injuries, along with a 37-year-old man, the latter of whom has since been released from the hospital. The police believe the altercation between 2 sets of people led to the shootout. Police said that there were at least 2 shooters, maybe 3. They are not yet clear on the details leading to the gunfire-fueled argument, but do not believe that it was a targeted attack on these kids. Both of the injured teenage boys are under investigation by police. The injured 16-year-old, whose name has so far not been released by police, underwent surgery for his wounds and is now being looked at as more than just an innocent bystander, but police have been unable to speak to him because of the extent of his injuries. An 18-year-old, later identified as Cruz Meza, has been released from the hospital and is now in custody, charged with tampering with physical evidence and making a false statement to law enforcement. Juliana Espino, also 18, was not injured in the shooting, but has been arrested under the same charges. Both Meza and Espino are being held at the Brazoria County Jail. It's not clear yet if they have hired lawyers. So this poor kid gets caught in what sounds like gang,
right,
based upon their ages.
Oh, that's senseless. Tiffany.
You can now take off that belt and move freely around the cabin.
we've all, maybe if we've taken a flight, been running late and trying to catch that plane, right? Well, this Thanksgiving week is one of the busiest travel days. Travel weeks really of the year, which makes for some great mile high crimes. I'm sure we'll have some coming at you soon based off of this particular travel week. But let me tell you about one that is just plain stupid.
Right?
Get that, Mike? Plain
stupid. Just plain stupid.
Plain stupid. Another day, another inconsiderate plane passenger making the friendly skies unfriendly. This time, a female traveler decided to run onto the airport tarmac in an attempt to prevent a plane from leaving her behind. And guess what? There's a video of it. That's right. So we will be posting that. A lady who had missed her flight clearly thought she could still catch it. Eyewitness Simon Hales wrote in a Facebook post describing the incident, which occurred Wednesday at Canberra Airport in Australia.
Oh, okay.
According to Hales, the entitled woman had run past security and down onto the tarmac to try and halt a Qantas Link flight as it was departing. Needless to, in shocking footage, the unidentified female can be seen attempting to flag down the pilot as if she was hailing a cab. Hold on, quit backing up, quit taxiing.
Because that's going to work, right?
Yeah, so needless to say, bystanders were flabbergasted over the scene, which evoked a character in a romantic comedy trying to prevent their loved one from leaving. She's trying to yell at the pilot. She's trying to get his attention and jump up and down. It was bizarre, recalled Hales. People were a bit flat-footed. They didn't seem to know what to do, added fellow witnesses who were filming the incident. Is anyone going to stop her? Thankfully, the pilot killed the engine, after which the Australian Federal Police apprehended the travelers. So we got that video. We're going to post it on Facebook, and you can see for yourself.
Pretty sure
She's hailing down the plane.
I'm pretty sure in the history of the world, no commercial pilot has ever stopped some idiot.
Yeah, no, that's generally not going to work.
Hey,
Yeah.
Let the thing.
Everybody just, I'm fucking up everybody.
But how the hell did she get out there?
That's the question. They do it, and they
yeah,
manage to figure it out.
Airport security is really not thinking that somebody's going to be that dumb. Yeah,
Well, and I just want to clarify something for listeners that may be concerned. If you haven't listened in previous episodes, story can trump geography. So Jim reporting an Australian plane incident does not infringe on my control of the Australian territory. It's Jim using his segment to trump geography, which is okay and part of the board bylaws. Thank you.
That is true.
I'm sure that was the first thing that popped in everybody's mind.
Mike
does Australia.
Which is why I wanted to clarify for everybody. Important.
Yes,
there you go. All right.
Yeah. Kinky crime.
Fold
Monday. Y'all, an Ohio woman who authorities say...
A high woman? She was high or a...
An Ohio woman.
An Ohio
was
woman.
Get your hearing aids checked. An Ohio woman who authorities say killed 4 men with lethal doses of fentanyl in order to rob them pleaded not guilty to murder charges on Monday. Rebecca Alborn entered her plea in court accompanied by her attorney. Authorities said there are likely more victims and the investigation is ongoing. Alborn, 33, of Columbus, is accused of killing the men and nearly killing the 5th man after meeting them for sex in Columbus between December 2022 and June of 2023. Authorities did not identify the men. Now, I wonder how many more there were that they just thought were accidents.
That's the question. This is like a Black Widow right here.
But, so she had already pled not guilty last month to murder and drug-related charges in connection with one of the men's death. She is being held without bond, and I don't know how much money they were paying this one. And this is not lookism, but I wouldn't hit her. She had gold hanging out of her.
And imagine all these men. She was stacking them up.
When people aren't happy, though, she's not smiling there. She's got a scowl. She's
right.
Probably looks a lot better when she's happy.
That was your kinky crimes for Monday.
Luring them for sex and killing them.
Yep.
Pretty kinky.
Yep. Banjos.
Well, I have to check the numbers, but at last count, over 6,000 of you had asked for a special Thanksgiving Poetic Justice. And so
Over
not
six,
board.
really
So
over
you-
6,000.
at last count, it may be up from there.
I'm sorry
So-
I killed the board because this is not board sanctioned.
So you'll be very happy about this. This is about Thanksgiving. It's about being
Y'all,
thankful.
when he does this, we literally have no idea what he's going to say.
It's about saying thanks. That's what this week is all about. Right. And so we have a Thanksgiving poem, and it is entitled, Thank You to the Criminals. I'm thankful to the criminals who provide the content for the show. Without them, I'd be lost and have nowhere to go. Sometimes they're dumb, and sometimes they're kinky. Sometimes they're airborne, and sometimes they're stinky. Sometimes they're Mexican, so Woody has to cover. Sometimes they're Aussie, as I often discover. Sometimes they're on drugs and hurt the ones they love. Sometimes they kill a housekeeper with a tiny little shove. Sometimes they can't keep their dick in their pants. Sometimes they sell organs used for transplants. Sometimes they hit Target for some household goods. Sometimes they just out banging in the hoods. Sometimes they're tearing up the streets of Philly. Sometimes they egg the Amish just to be silly. Sometimes they race golf carts in Pinellas County. Sometimes they kidnap and ask for a bounty. Sometimes they terrorize a New York subway. Sometimes they wash up in Malibu Bay. Sometimes they kill their unsuspecting spouse. Sometimes it's for the money and the $1 million house. Sometimes it's gory with body parts severed. Sometimes the bodies are severely weathered. Sometimes they escape quiet as a mouse. Sometimes they're found eating at the Waffle House. Sometimes they use power tools and household cleaners. Sometimes they write books about grieving demeanors. Sometimes they're on OnlyFans making a big buck. Sometimes they're in a jail cell taking a big suck. Sometimes they rent hitmen like our friend Guido. Sometimes they show up wearing a black tuxedo. Sometimes they do meth and are called shabusiness. Sometimes their actions prove quite cataclysmos. But I'll pray thanks for them all this Turkey Day, knowing 2024 will bring many more our way. Thank you to the criminals.
That was a good summary.
There you go. And I can't really, do I do a dumb criminal?
You can, yeah, close it with some banjo.
Good.
A Thanksgiving poetic justice for you.
Poetic justice.
All right, and look, just because it's the holidays doesn't mean you can't listen. As we mentioned earlier, we're going to have some best ofs. If you love those segments, and we know you do, we're going to have some best ofs coming at you this week. Best of Kinky Crimes, Best of Dumb Criminals, Best of Mile High Crimes, and, Best of WTF or something. We'll come up with another one.
But what about?
Or They Stole What? Or
no, what about the stuff I'm not allowed to report? We're not going to have any of those.
We said best of.
We said our most popular segment.
I'm going to get another 7,000 plus on that one. My God.
So you can look for those to get you.
And no
through
Poetic
Turkey
Justice
Day.
either. Oh my God, this is.
Oh Lord,
I'm being
That's
persecuted.
right. Any final thoughts?
I just want to say I'm thankful for each and every one of you lifers. I'm thankful for my guys here. Thankful for this show, opportunity to do it, and I hope y'all have the best freaking Thanksgiving ever.
Best Thanksgiving starts now.
That's right.
Get a Woody for your hoodie.
Yep. There you go.
There you go. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino.
For Real Life, Real Crime Daily. Peace.
Aglets.